All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Yeah, it is on.
We'll just take a roll call for attendance. Member Allen?
Present.
Member Boucher, present. Member Hefnecker?
Present.
Member Annucci?
Present.
Member Carlich?
Present.
Member Kelly? Not here. Member Umberto?
Present.
And then for our professionals, we have Attorney Cassidy.
Present.
And we have our engineer Higgins.
Present.
And Building Inspector Jim Cox. And I think that's all our professionals tonight that will be with us. So first up, we have a public hearing for 30 Carpenter Place, and we need a motion to open the public meeting.
Make that motion.
Member Umberto, and we need a second. Okay, Member Hefnecker, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Public meeting is open for 30 Carpenter. And so just so everyone understands, if is there anyone here to comment on 30 Carpenter tonight? No one here to okay, so there's no one here to talk about that. So I am reluctant to close the public meeting tonight because we do not yet have, David, what is happening with the wall. So, sure, you can say, sure.
David Limatko with architectural firm for the project. It's a moot point. It was denied, so we can't go ahead with the pillar.
Okay, I was unaware.
Oh, no.
I probably just didn't see
He reiterated his initial decision that the pillar would be considered part of the landscape retaining wall. I'm not going to beat it to death, so we remove it. So I thought as part of the final document or part of the final resolution, we can work out within the plans, just resubmitting to your professionals, just that one wall without the pier. I mean, it's one of the, well, actually, we got Jim's comments, but I mean, that's.
Okay, so
one
you
of
have, right, you have your things that you need to
Yeah.
do already.
So we would just submit it as part of the final documents.
Okay, so then do we continue that, Liz, or do we?
So the issue had been whether the pier was, the height of the wall matched. We had Jim's determination.
Right.
It sounds like the applicant tonight is telling us that they are electing not to proceed with the higher wall, and they are electing to lower the wall. Am I understanding that?
Yeah, we're cutting off the pier, however you want to, so the wall.
Right, you're lowering the wall.
Yeah, so the 4-foot-high pier won't be there, it'll just be a 2-foot-high wall.
Okay,
That's a decision for the board. I would defer to Dave if there's any other outstanding significant engineering comments.
So the comments that we had issued back in November, I believe, had not been addressed. There's no revised plans since that time. So we didn't conduct a review of anything because plans weren't submitted.
okay, so, and you're aware of that?
Correct.
David? Okay,
Yeah, I mean, they're minor in nature, you know, we're ready to address them. I was going to revise plans before public hearing, because if anybody came to review the plans that were already here, they needed to review the latest set, so
right,
we'll revise.
so then we continue it.
I would
Yeah.
recommend in light of that, if
Right.
you're planning on making that submission, leave the public hearing open,
Mhm.
and then have the submission for the next, we don't need to renotice it, but have the public hearing upon submission of those revised plans, we can take action at our May meeting.
Right, so I would say, don't take,
Why don't we
you don't
just
have to
close
notice
it and when everything's submitted, set a new public hearing?
because you just continue it, it's just easier.
It's easier.
Yeah. It's- you just
Any
keep-
comments that come in,
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so anything from the board before we do that? Nothing? Okay, so we need a motion to continue the public meeting for 30
Make a
Carpenter.
motion to continue the public hearing.
Member Alberto and Member Kelly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
The public meeting will continue, and we'll see you back here.
Well, actually,
You got another one.
okay, you know, with Dave's comments, from the November letter, we can address that. I mean, Jim had just issued a letter, so I think we should review a few of the comments.
So we'll do that not in the public meeting, right,
In the workshop.
the workshop. So, okay? So we need a motion to close the public meeting,
I'll make the motion.
okay?
No, second.
Actually, to continue it. Yeah, and we just did that, so forget it.
I make a motion to open the regular meeting.
And Member Alberto made the motion, and we need a second.
Second.
Member Kelly, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's opened, and based on some of the needs of some of our applicants, we adjusted our agenda for this evening. So we are going to go with the Monroe Woodbury Islamic Center as our number one in the regular meeting. So if you guys are ready for that.
Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Good, how are you doing? Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Frank Phillips from the law offices of Phillips and Millman. Present with me is the engineer on the project, Ryan Nasher, the architect on the project, Ahmed Amara, and also I saw that just walked in, the president of the Monroe Woodbury Islamic Center, Mohammed Hassan Mahir. We're back here, I know this I'm not going to be redundant, I know this application's been before the board since 2022, when they were last before this board in December of 2023, because of the change of the zoning code of the Village of Monroe. They were recommended to go before the ZBA. Subsequent to that, I was retained and got up to date on this property. We did appear before the ZBA on March 12th of 2024. I'll just be very brief that the variances that we initially went before the ZBA was the height variance, and also now, based upon the new zoning, would be an issue because a variance would be necessary because the parking would be in between the building and the roadway. So those are the two variances that we were brought before the ZBA. So to able to deal with certain procedural issues regarding SECRA, we did decide and respectfully requested to the ZBA and also to this board via letter that there be a coordinated review. I know that this board initially declared itself lead agency, but now with the coordinated review, there's an interested agency being the ZBA. So then procedurally, I believe at your last meeting, which we did make our submission on March 25th, to be able to get on this meeting, which was the deadline, that you did declare yourself to be lead agency, again, amending the previous one because then notifications will have to go out. And I believe the ZBA has a meeting tomorrow, and based upon a workshop meeting that I believe that they may consent to this planning board being the lead agency. As a matter of background, which you're familiar with, is the properties at 1431 Orange Turnpike in Monroe. The Monroe Woodbury Islamic Center is a nonprofit that purchased the property in 2015. They're looking to use it for site plan approval for a place of worship. Currently on the property is a dwelling, sheds, garage, and driveway. They're looking for, they've made an application back in August of 2022 for a demolition and a new mosque. There was during that period of time, there was a moratorium in the Village of Monroe. They were able to obtain the waiver. The moratorium came to an end, and then this board reviewed it from May 2023 to December of 2023. There was a public hearing that was going to take place on November 28th, but then it was rescheduled for December 11th, and 6 days before that, the new code came into effect, which kicked us over to the zoning board. During that period of time, we have worked with the design to deal with such issues as there were issues raised regarding drainage, regarding traffic. A traffic study was done, and limiting the prayer times, which we have done. There has been a site plan submitted. It has been updated per the last few meetings and the workshop meeting before the deadline last month, which we revised. Again, there was a traffic study back in August of 2023, and they're looking at a footprint of 14,248 square feet. The property itself is 2.5 acres, and it's in the SR20 zone. We did also submit, the applicant also submitted the short form EAF, which we went through. They did receive a letter from SHPO in the meantime during their view that none of the properties are eligible for New York State and National Register of Historical Places. And we just are here before the board to address some of the concerns. We did meet with Mr. O'Rourke previously, and we did receive Lankin Tully's latest, Mr. Higgins' latest data review was April 2nd of 2024. I'm just a lawyer, not an engineer, so I'll turn that over to Mr. Nasher as to what issues that he has worked based upon those comments that were done, which was subsequent to the submission on March 25th. So going back to the procedural, I believe we're at the point now where we're looking for an informal discussion with the planning board and also to get a public hearing set. I know that there's some changes in the schedule relating to Passover and other holidays, and we just respectfully submit that we're here to have an informal discussion on what was submitted and look for targeting a planning board meeting, public hearing, be able to go before the planning board at the workshop, and then subsequently the ZBA public hearing was adjourned to June 11th of 2024. So that's where we are right now. So the reason why it's like a ping pong ball going back and forth a little bit is that because of the zoning change, that now we have to seek these two variances, and after speaking with the attorneys and the ZBA, it looks like that they're willing to have this board, which should be the right board, be the lead agency for the seeker review.
Okay, appreciate that. I'm going to turn it to Dave Higgins for your comments, Dave.
Sure. So, as Mr. Phillips just indicated, revised plans were submitted. We reviewed them, outlined comments in our April 2nd memo. Although the plans addressed some of the comments that we had, most of the comments that we had from before still remain. There are 21 related to the plans and 6 comments related to the stormwater pollution prevention plan. Would you like me to go through them?
Yeah, I think if you highlight them for the board, that would be great.
Okay. Regarding the site plan, number 1, as previously requested, profiles for driveway, sewer, and drainage should be provided. Number 2, existing trees have been shown on the existing conditions plan as requested, but none of these trees are incorporated into the landscaping plan. The applicant should consider saving existing vegetation instead of clearing the site and planting new vegetation in the same location. Number 3, sewer report, including anticipated flows, storage, alarm system, etc., to be provided. Number 4, pump station sizing and all actual dimensions to be provided. Detail appears generic in nature. Is any generator proposed on site? Is there any backup systems proposed that should be shown? Number 5, all details as required by Orange County Sewer District Number 1 to be provided. Typically, they do not permit doghouse manholes. Number 6, ownership and maintenance agreements with the village will need to be obtained for proposed force main in the village's right-of-way. Number 7, precast manhole detail references clay or bentonite barrier dams to sewer trench detail. However, no description is provided. Number 8, traffic control plan for work along Orange Turnpike should be provided. Number 9, details should be organized. Dumpster details located on the drainage detail sheet. Number 10, pavement detail should be provided. The only reference is on the curb detail. Number 11, restoration shoulder pavement detail should be provided for work along Orange Turnpike. Number 12, details for ADA signage for drop-off area as well as signposts should be provided to meet current regulations for location and height. Number 13, detail for proposed block wall should be provided as well as top and bottom elevations and railing detail. Number 14, detail and design of light pole base should be provided. Number 15, standard village language on maintenance in perpetuity should be added to the landscape plan. Number 16, demolition plan should be provided. Number 17, construction entrance is shown over the existing blacktop. Was this the intent, or should it be moved back further into the site? Number 18, all backfill trench details should specify compaction requirements. Number 19, fire lane detail is provided but is not indicated where it is to be installed on the plan. Number 20, directional signage, stop signs and striping should be detailed and located on the plan. And number 21, a traffic study was received. We would defer to the village's traffic consultant on their comments and the applicant's responses. Actually, just today, I had gotten a copy of the village's traffic consultant comments. You can, I guess, go through those afterwards, I suppose.
Yeah, if I could get a copy, please.
Sure, sure. And then the last comments are regarding the stormwater pollution prevention plan. Number 1, the applicant has proposed infiltration practices to meet water quality and runoff reduction requirements. Infiltration testing shall be performed in accordance with Appendix D of the New York State DEC Stormwater Management Design Manual and witnessed by our office. The report notes that infiltration rates of 0.5 inches per hour and 5.0 inches per hour were used as a design basis for the porous pavement and the underground infiltration, respectively. In addition to confirming these infiltration rates, the soil testing shall also demonstrate that the required separation to groundwater is met. So we still have to conduct the testing for that. Number 2, our office recommends that the applicant consider incorporating an underdrain to prevent surcharge and frost heave in the pavement layer in the event of clogging. Number 3, based on the hatch area for porous pavement on the site plan, it appears that there is approximately 17,334 square feet of porous pavement proposed, which is 105 parking spaces and the 2 hatched ADA spaces. The stormwater pollution prevention plan notes that 18,731 square feet of porous pavement is proposed. The calculation should be reviewed and revised if necessary. Number 4, notes should be added to the plans outlining the maintenance of porous pavements, especially in regard to cold climate considerations. And number 5, it is noted that the proposed gas service is located beneath the porous pavement. Our office recommends relocating the proposed gas service. And number 6, chamber design should be modified to contain the entire 100-year storm event. Storage in the stone above that is not acceptable.
David, where, the traffic study, where did that come from today?
Ryan had sent me a copy of the comments from November, I believe.
So, if I may.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a comment, it's a confusing. It's actually a sign of letter. So the way they wrote this sign of letter, they have the comments that, from beginning to the end, it's like, the sequence, like, hey, this is the comment, this is response, and then at the end, from the Audria, I think she's the...
Andrea Connell?
Yeah, exactly. She said, I'm sorry, the him, or Audria?
Andrea.
Okay, all right, so they don't have any further comment. The comment is what is accepted, what is provided by our traffic consultant. So it's actually the signed off letter, the way I look at it.
December 8th?
Yes,
December
Right.
last year,
yes.
yeah.
So what did you actually receive, not Andrea's report, just
No,
these?
the memo from
Okay.
Ryan, I didn't realize it had even been submitted, so I'm not sure, when it came out, but
Yeah, I'm not sure we got that.
just
Did we get
received it.
that? I don't think we received that. Did you send it to
Yeah,
us?
we had it. We actually, we had it, and John O'Rourke had it, so I just gave a copy to him.
Did you ever submit it to the planning board, Ryan? It's just a matter of...
Yes, it was submitted to the planning board, and actually, like the last presentation back in December, I acknowledged to the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
She did, so essentially,
Yeah, we'll
just
find
going
it.
through this real quickly, and I'll make sure you have a copy of that letter, so I don't forward that to you. Going through the various comments, and I'll double check that there's no issue, and I can follow up with Andrea in the morning. Provided the responses, and I think the only follow-up really notice, values, we recommend that vegetation impacting the driver's view within the site triangles be removed and the area kept clear. That's an ongoing maintenance issue. So
Right.
I don't think that's a huge issue, and we can put that as a note, a condition on the plan. But I'll
Okay, so you still have, I guess, a bit of homework to do for,
Well, yeah, just to give the updates, majority of the comment that we got it actually last year when we submitted back in, when we were for the planning board for the December. As a follow-up, I had a workshop with John Rook. We had a one-to-one meeting, and we went through all the comments. We are okay with those comments. We agreed to address them. Just a couple of notes. For the porous asphalt, the way the code is, they want that infiltration to be natural ground. There is no flow drain proposed. The way it has to be checked, when we do the test hole for the infiltration practice we have, we also going to do the test hole for the location of those porous asphalt. And once it's meet what is the design rate that we have used, no flow drain is required. So the flow drain could be eliminated based on what we find for the test hole. The meeting that we had, it was middle of the winter. We couldn't do it, so I said, okay, whenever the weather permit, we're gonna do it. So now is really the time. So depending on how the discussion goes, our homework gonna be part of it, and the very first thing, we're gonna do the test holes, make sure the design works, and address these comments and resubmission for your consultant review.
so what's your expectation as far as time to get everything that David put out there accomplished?
So the next meeting, I think we're gonna be ready for, we have the layout for all the schedules. I believe we'll be fine. We have some of the comment we already addressed, meaning we did in the CAD drawing, we have the information. It's just a matter of we could do the test hole next week, and if it works, and which based on the walkthrough that we have seen, the site is pretty much dry, and then we check with the applicant. In the rain event, there's no issue, there's standing water or anything, so most likely it's gonna work. And it's just a matter of making submission before your deadline,
I
basically.
think April 29th is the deadline for the May meeting now.
Right.
We'll be fine for
So
the
that gives us
deadline,
like 20 days then.
Mm-hmm.
for 2-3 weeks. We should be done on the
Okay.
deadlines.
Okay, comments?
Mr. Chair, if I could, a couple of things. Last meeting, we did redo we revised our secret resolution to do coordinated review. I provided the notice of intent to be circulated, and I'm working with Terry to get that circulated. Because of our unique schedule this month, any meeting would be on, I think we were aiming for May 28th with the town of Monroe. So assuming she gets it circulated well before the 28th, and we're plenty of time to do that, our 30 days for lead agency will last by our next meeting. Unless Dave disagrees, if there's something earth-shattering that can't prevent us from scheduling the public hearing,
No, I think that, I mean, most of the comments, although there's quite a few of them, are mostly technical in nature, and I don't see anything that's earth-shattering there. I mean, probably the biggest thing is what's going to be the results of the soils tests and how that might impact the stormwater pollution prevention plan, but I think we'll know that next week, hopefully.
Yes, we're gonna reach out to Lincoln Tully for the eyewitness. We're gonna reach out to at least 2 business days prior notice, and then we're gonna schedule.
So David, if it becomes a problem, let's just say it doesn't work the way everybody's hoping, what's the solution?
You'd have to ask the design engineer that question.
All right.
What would be the acceptable solution?
So if it doesn't work, there is a different practice you could do. We have now underground infiltration, taking the water, going to the underground. Let's say if it failed, that means the site going to be wet, or you don't have the enough separation between the bottom of the system of the infiltration practice and the groundwater. Then in that case, we're going to do a solid underground pipe. That's for the 100-year storage. The water quality, we're going to do of more of a vegetated practice, like a biofilter, rain garden type of practice. So still it could be done, but it's really a different practice you got to do that's going to meet the code.
Okay,
Will you have room if you need to do that in the front area where you have the parking lot, will you have sufficient area available for those practices?
So what's going to happen is in that grass area between the, behind the curb and the property line, we're gonna really coordinate with the vegetated practice. And for the parking lot, we're gonna put the underground solid pipe. That's gonna go on the parking lot. So the grass area, which is really around the building and also behind the curb, we have enough room to fit in for the biofilter and the rain garden for the water quality. And the 100-year storage is gonna be under the parking lot with a solid pipe with the concrete structure and tying to the drainage on the Orange Turnpike the way we have it. So it's doable, yeah.
So Ryan, for your variances that you're seeking, are they to build what was originally intended, or is that the variances for the new?
So the way you saw the plan?
Yes.
You know what, I should really show the plan, so it's gonna be really easier for everybody to look at it. If I may get a minute,
Sure.
I'm gonna just put that
Yep.
back up.
Yeah, the two variances were necessitated by the amendment, but the one, we're gonna still ask for the height variance, but I think with the way it's written, it's gonna cause some issues for, potentially for the village for any further applications, but we're still gonna move forward with that. The other variance, again, was having the parking in between the building and the road, which was something that was addressed, has to be addressed because of the amended zoning.
So that's one of the variances you're seeking?
Correct.
Right.
There's two variances, so. And we gave an informal presentation before the ZBA last month. And I think you have a workshop on the 13th of May too, which would be approximately 2 weeks before the May 28th date.
Right.
So the plan that you have seen on December, there is no changes to the site plan because the setback works. It works for the old code the way we did it and also for the new code.
Okay.
It is fine. The only difference is the new code has a very gray area on the definition of the building height. The way we read it, you know, it could be 35 or it could be 30, okay? And if it's a parapet wall, it could be up to 38. It's like, you know, and then we spoke to
Building inspector.
And he agreed that the definition is still a gray area. So we said, okay, we're gonna go for up to 40 feet, depending on how they figure out the definition. Because if we ask for the, you know, the variance for 36 and come back, they say, no, it's not 36, but 37, 38, you know, and then it's just going back into like a ping pong ball, okay? So he said up to 40 feet doesn't mean that you're gonna be building it for the 40 feet. So that's one. And the second one is just for the location of the park. The new code that said, hey, it has to be pretty much, you know, the behind the building,
right.
So, and we have the phone, and that's why we're seeking the variance. So we updated the bulk table that reflects the new code, the definition, and that we have the notes over there. Parking proposed between the principal use and the street line of which the property from.
So just showing us with your hand there, where's the building going to be located if the variance doesn't come through, like, and the parking has to be behind the building?
Okay, so you know, we did some sort of a conceptual layout. So
Yes.
I'm going to show you. If we
Okay, don't show me with your finger.
it's really a conceptual layout. Okay, so we didn't do the grading or anything. We just put the building in there, put the parking, and what's going to happen is, right now, if I have to make it work, you have to really walk a bit forward. Raising up
Right.
the side because there is no drainage to the back. The only way to really make it work, raise it in the parking lot and bring everything there. So what does that mean? I have like a sketch profile. So you have to have the retaining wall up to 21 feet high.
All the way in the back.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then, you know, the neighbor said, hey, what is my greenery? And it's all like in a commercial looking retaining wall, okay? So that's one. Number two, the lighting pole that you're gonna put in, even they're gonna just, you know, project it going down, but you could really see it, like in lighting pole, the picture, because it's really raised up by, you know, up high, okay? And again, the building is to the front, you know, it's gonna be really exposed. So we believe that the layout that you have been seeing many times, that's a better layout because the building gonna be set really to the back.
Mhm.
There is no grading changes to the neighboring property. It doesn't really change, it's really hold the character of the neighbor, you know, but here it's more of it that it's changing the character of the neighborhood, commercial looking properties, you know. So it's really up to the board, like, you know, how you look at it, you know. You can really see like, hey, it's really accept a plan that is that works for the code, but it's the worst looking plan to me. Or you could say, hey, it's a good looking plan that really keep the neighborhood as residential look, okay, but would really seek for the variance.
Right.
Brian, I know you guys were having trouble with sewer water and stuff. Does this help or hurt that?
Sewer, there's no changes.
No changes
Sewer,
with it?
like,
You've
you know,
already,
it is. Yeah, definitely
already
change for the sewer.
doing
But the sewer, the main problem was getting an easement to the neighbor property, okay, and the neighbor said, nope, they don't want to give the easement.
so you're going out the
The
front
sewer
anyway,
pretty
right?
much
You're going out front.
unchanged.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, we're doing a coordinated review, and that'll go back before the zoning board for the variances.
So, one of the things I asked Terry, again, because we have an unusual schedule, and I did want to make sure, for the public hearing, and we did have a large crowd the last time, but we had an adequate space.
Right.
If the board elects to proceed, Terry has advised us that we can have the courtroom at Town Hall.
Right.
The meeting room at the.
On the 28th, I
On
think.
the 28th.
Mhm.
I have coordinated with Mr. Hume, she was able to cover,
Right.
that evening. So what I would suggest, in light of the timing situation, vote tonight to schedule the public hearing for the 28th at Town Hall, at the Town Court, okay, at Town Hall. And then, if there's significant changes from what was submitted as this go around, because the applicant was aware, that was the whole reason he was trying to submit for this meeting,
Mhm.
was so that he could receive these comments and then, come back. If there's major issues that need to be addressed, we'll leave the public hearing open. Otherwise, we can close the public hearing, that evening. So that would be the schedule. Dave, do you have any issues with that?
No, that works.
So, any of the board members, comments or input on that?
Yeah,
Sure.
I think we should wait for the decision of the ZBA, because you're having a public hearing on a plan that you're not 100% sure is.
But
We can.
you
It's-
can't, you have to have some determinate, you have to have a determination on secret first.
We have to
So-
issue our finding statement or negative declaration. We have to finalize seeker, not necessarily our approval, but because of the coordinated review, the ZBA can't make a determination until we finish seeker. So the environmental review of the project. Once we finish the environmental review, by either, one way or the other, by either finding statement or a negative declaration, then the ZBA can take action. So unfortunately, we had that discussion as well. Let's see what the ZBA says, but that would require the ZBA also, because this is not a type 2 action. They would have to undergo their own entire environmental review. So we would effectively be doing environmental review twice. After discussion with the applicant's attorney, Kelly Naughton, the ZBA attorney, the chairman, it was thought, let's do a coordinated review. We'll do one secret review. But unfortunately, that means the applicant, and the applicant is aware that the applicant needs to do environmental review now, runs the risk that the ZBA says no. So that's the position we are in, after consulting with them.
And when are you before the ZBA again? June
June 11th.
24, June 11th?
That's what you said.
No,
That's
the
the public-
24th.
11th would be the public
Public
hearing
hearing.
for the ZBA. This kind of morass came up at the ZBA meeting, so we did go through whether we'd have a coordinated review, and we had an informal meeting with both attorneys, Mr. O'Rourke and our engineer, and this is the way to go, because there can, first of all, it coordinates the review into one from an environmental standpoint, but the ZBA is not going to make a decision until after the planning board makes their decision on secret. You can't act without a decision on secret.
So at the plan, at the public meeting, which plan is being presented to the people?
they are presenting the plan as was originally presented with the parking lot in the front, okay, on the street, all right?
Right.
The applicant is welcome as part of, and I've already extended this invitation to, as part of its seeker work, say, hey guys, here's what happens if they say no, and this is why we think that this is the better plan. They're allowed, and that's up to the applicant whether they present that information, but they're welcome to, very much like an alternative in an EIS.
Right, so that's going to be explained at the public meeting to say
Correct.
to everybody there that this is the current plan without the variances, or, you know, if the variances go through. If they don't go through, or they're not approved, then this is the plan. So
Well-
you're going to really be presenting two,
A plan plus an alternative.
right,
The
an alternative plan.
Is not, as the applicant said, is not engineered anywhere near the same extent the engineering is on the first plan, that I'll call the first
right,
plan.
so you couldn't really, we couldn't close the public meeting anyway, because if, in other words,
We can close the public meeting, take whatever action is appropriate, whether that happens on the 28th or a subsequent meeting, we're not bound to, and if there's still questions and other things on the 28th, we move to the next month. But, if we act on the primary plan as it's been presented, on seeker alone, we don't approve it, we just do our neg deck or seeker determination.
right, I understand all
Then
that.
it goes back to the ZBA. If the ZBA says, yes, here are your variances, we can then finalize the approval and issue.
Right, so when, in your timeline there, when is the ZBA going to decide on the,
So, as a hypothetical,
Yeah.
not guaranteeing,
Yeah.
and I'm saying this in front of the whole room, as a hypothetical, the public hearing would happen on the 28th.
Mhm.
We could theoretically close the public hearing. We could also, if the submission was adequate, we can make a determination on whether it's a neg deck, whether they've addressed all the environmental concerns. Okay? And we'll certainly have the work session to discuss that. If that were to happen on that schedule, they would be back before the ZBA, I believe it was June 11th.
June, yes, that's correct.
What I don't like there, though, is the public doesn't get the chance to talk about the second
Well, they
part
have a public hearing before the ZBA.
Correct.
for the
Our
variances.
public hearing would be
Right.
June
And if we
11th.
don't finish, if we're
Right.
not in a position to take action on seeker on the 28th, that June 11th meeting would be adjourned.
We were originally looking
Right.
for the May meeting, because this has been before the board's for an inordinate amount of time, but we just spaced it out, because initially, the ZBA, because when we got bounced to the ZBA, was gonna hold their public hearing in April. But then after we had the meeting, which would be
Coordinated
this
review.
month, but then after we had the meeting regarding the secra and procedurally, it'd be untenable to do it that way, so then they've adjourned that now, because they initially set it for April for May, to the June date.
Yeah, because listen, I think it's to your advantage to have the alternate plan showed at a public meeting
This
to
is
show the difference.
No, I agree. This is the impression we got from the ZBA, like, hey, before they make the decision, what is it? You gotta show the impact, you know?
Mhm.
Correct.
Is it a good plan? And honestly, for the applicant, either way, they are fine, either this plan or that plan. But we recommend and we believe the plan that require variance is a better plan in terms of the environmental impact,
Mhm.
looking at the characteristics of the neighbor or anything. The public gonna have the opportunity to look at it, okay? And again, if I'm not really speaking out for the public, but we are certain that's gonna be a better plan. And also, we heard from the neighbor that has a concern for the drainage. They have concern for the headlights. And I forgot to mention, we over-designed some drainage behind the building. We have the lower roof, some of the roof, like, the previous plan in December that shows some level spreader. But we hold all the water, put a dry well, and no overflow. We over-designed it for up to 100-year storm. For the headlight, I don't think the neighbor understood. It's really we're putting the landscaping, heavily screened landscaping. So as of right now, they could really see the headlight, but doesn't mean that, after the project, they're gonna have the heavily screened landscaping. So that's pretty much really majority concern from the neighbor. So I don't see any reason not to like the project that really hold their value of the neighborhood, the characteristics of the neighborhood. But either way, if they want to go for the other one, to me, I say like in worst plans that really meet the code, but it's really up to them now. But the public gonna have the opportunity to make their comment, and we're gonna respectfully take it and then take it from there.
And from an engineering standpoint, I believe that the original plan may be beneficial based upon our discussions with Mr. O'Rourke. And Ms. Carlich indicated with some of the board members about having the ZBA make a determination. You're not determining the site plan before the ZBA. You could make, as the attorney indicated, you can make a decision regarding secret. But then we have to go before the
Right.
zoning board, and
Yeah.
then we come back to you
Right, to get
with the
approved.
site plan. So I
Right.
don't want anybody under the conception that you're done.
No, I think everybody understands
Okay.
that. Yeah, I think everybody understands that.
So I think that the thing at this point, based on what we have, it's far enough along that we can set that public hearing to keep that timeframe. The applicant knows that if there's holes or whatever that need to be filled, we're gonna continue the public hearing on the 28th. But I wanted Terry to be able to lock in that room, so, if we could have a.
Well, I think the room's locked in.
Yeah.
So,
So if we can, but we won't have another opportunity to vote, so if we can have a motion and then I can get the applicant the notices.
right, so,
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing at the town hall on May 28th.
and we need a second for that.
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, public meeting date is set for the 28th of May.
Thank you very much.
I'll get
Appreciate
you
your
notice.
patience.
I just have one other question. The difference in the two, now, the terrain goes elevated towards the back, right? Is
But
that
already-
building gonna be
Drop.
higher towards the back?
No, it drops toward the back. They're gonna raise it. In other words, they're raising, putting a 21-foot retaining wall at the back of the property if they go with the new.
Driveway goes up, doesn't it?
The driveway goes up.
Right, but it drops, then it drops off.
To answer your question, right now,
Yeah.
if you go the existing terrain, it dropped down to the back of the property about like 12 feet.
Uh-huh.
So in order for the drainage to make it work, you gotta have at least, 1.5 to 2% slope for the parking lot and going back to the pond. So you really have to raise it up by double to get that drainage to make it work, because there is no drainage connection to the back. So really, if you look at the profile there, is retaining wall, which is really at there to the corner, that's the highest elevation there. That's gonna raise up about up to 21 feet high retaining wall.
Because of the topography.
Yeah.
It's going to the
Now,
opposite
but
direction.
what I'm saying is the building height, is the building height gonna change it whether it goes in the front or in the back like that? Like,
Well, that's
where
one of
you
the
see it
variances.
from the road?
Well, it depends, if you look at the variance, it's up to 40 feet versus 35 feet.
We showed as 35 feet to meet the code.
No, I know the building itself, but what I'm saying is where it's sitting itself. Like, is it gonna be elevated if it's all the way in the back, or is it gonna be
Saying
lowered?
Plan A
So from
versus Plan
from the
B.
ground level, Keith, it's gonna be the 35 feet. So if you're lower in the front,
From,
it's still
I'm talking
35
about
feet.
from the
It's
Orange
going to
Turnpike.
appear- It's going to
It's gonna
physically
appear much higher
in the front.
in the front, but it will still be the same height.
Correct.
So the elevation of the property is gonna go down in the
Right, if you're
back.
coming down in the front of it and you see it standing there, it's gonna
It's
look,
gonna appear bigger,
right,
yes.
but it's
Yeah,
sitting back, although it'll sit higher,
That's what I'm asking. Will it sit higher if it's
but
in
the
the
height of
back?
the building is the same.
The elevation though.
It's, you're sitting it on a higher elevation at the same height. So the elevation goes up, the building is still the same height.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it's gonna be above the trees and stuff like that if it's in the back.
Well, the trees are up too, at the height, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whatever.
So Jeff is right, the elevation is pretty much the same. It's really you're closer or you're farther away,
Okay.
that's the difference.
Yeah, so it's not gonna make a difference
Not much,
whether
not
it's in the
much.
front.
Maybe
It'll
some
feel like
couple
it's a
feet,
lot
yeah.
higher.
Correct, yeah.
In the front.
But if you see, it looks like higher. Okay?
Yeah.
But if you really go farther, like I'm just, hey,
Sure.
oh, you're far, something like
Right.
that.
So you're building this up for the parking lot in the back only for drainage? The new building in your,
Alternative.
the original one is not raised? That's, you're not raising, you're not,
We are not raising.
No.
okay, you're not doing
No.
any elevations or anything like that?
Yeah.
All right.
You're just taking the surface water because at the back, you have a larger area for the parking
parking and you have to drain, it will be much easier if you have the drainage connection there.
And I believe in the back, you have the lights on the building, on the original plan. The lights shine down, but they're on the building just above the windows.
Yes, and we also lower it down, but the problem with that.
Is you gotta raise it up.
Parking
Yeah.
lot you cannot, because the lighting
Right.
pole is gonna be 20
So
feet.
that's gonna be,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's another problem. You could see the fixture, everything, all those lighting is gonna be like a stadium, basically.
Right. Okay.
So
Okay.
I think that's it for
I think
now.
that's
I'll
it,
get the
yeah.
applicant notices, and coordinate with Terry on the publication.
And I think it-
Right.
Okay.
All right.
That lighting.
Thank you.
It's gonna be
All right.
towards
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
residential
Okay,
houses
thank you.
in the
Thank you
back,
for your time. Appreciate it.
You know?
Take care. Have a good night. Okay, 581 Route 17.
Yeah. And if you brought it forward, it will go down like this, is what I'm trying to project. You know what I mean? I do. Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is the first time you guys are in front of us here.
Yes.
And so tell us, just give us a little bit about the project.
Hi, first of all, Avi Weinberg, Weinberg Bloom Engineering, representing the applicant. This project is an existing, currently, we all know the site right here on Route 17M, approximately 8,500 square feet currently of retail space on the bottom floor of the two buildings, bottom floors.
It's the form.
And then approximately 85 or close to 9,000 square feet of office space on the top floors. The applicant seeks to expand the back building, continue 2 floors, but only office space. Zone is a general business district. Both uses are approved and both uses are existing. The site is entirely paved over, so in terms of stormwater or drainage or anything like that, there's no impacts there. We're proposed keeping the front parking. The main impetus behind this, I should say, is the parking lot is underutilized right now. There's way more parking or way more pavement than is required for what is currently existing right now, and the applicant seeks to expand and to add more offices in the rear.
So you're not talking about increasing the footprint, you're talking about going higher.
No, in the rear, increasing the footprint.
So expanding,
Expanding in the back.
So-
There's existing parking there, taking that out, I can show you on the.
so isn't the pharmacy like a drive up there?
So the pharmacy is a drive up there, the applicant is considering getting rid of it, however, also it is rarely used. It's there, but in terms of.
But it couldn't be used, right, if you do this?
No, okay, there will
It
still
could
be
be?
room to get around it. There is maximum 1 car there at any given time. There is plenty of room. We left this open, the 2 lanes for the cars to get around it. Like I said, here are the 2 existing buildings. The applicant seeks to expand in the back. Pharmacy drive-through is here. We kept this space open. This is what's currently provided. There's plenty of room for cars to get around it. And, we realigned the parking in the rear.
Okay. Dave?
Okay, so we reviewed the submission, and we had a number of comments. Did you receive a copy?
Yeah,
You had
today.
okay. All right, so I'll read through these. Number 1, the table of bulk requirements should be revised as follows. A, the required minimum front yard setback in the GB district is 60 feet. B, the total side yard provided for the existing and proposed conditions should include an asterisk to indicate the existing non-conforming condition. Number 2, it is my understanding that the village has adopted local law number 4 of 2024, also known as the Environmentally Constrained Lands Law. The zoning table should be revised to account for any such environmentally constrained lands. If no such constrained lands exist, this should be indicated on the plan.
There's nothing here. We will add that. That was just added like a few weeks ago, that law.
Yes, somewhat,
Yeah,
very recently,
we'll
yes.
put that on.
Number 3, parking calculations have been shown on sheet 3. The village code indicates a parking generation rate of 2.79 spaces per 1,000 square feet for general office buildings and 3.97 spaces per 1,000 square feet for shopping centers. Accordingly, the total number of parking spaces required would be 99.2, which would be rounded up to 100 spaces. A total of 95 parking spaces have been shown on the plan, including 4 ADA accessible spaces. Several of the parking spaces appear to be challenging with regards to vehicle maneuverability, such as the parallel space adjacent to the proposed dumpster enclosure and the single parking space adjacent to the northern property line. It also appears that one of the parking spaces along the western property line is less than 9 feet in width. The design engineer should review the parking provided and revise as needed. Consideration should also be made to provide ADA accessibility to the proposed office building.
We'll discuss the parking, but maybe go through the rest of your comments.
Number 4, access around the proposed building is quite tight. Design engineer should provide turning movement analysis for emergency vehicles and for trash collection. Plans should be referred to emergency services for review and comment. Number 5, proposed signage for traffic control, in other words, one-way and do not enter signs, should be provided where needed. Number 6, designated concrete walks or other acceptable means of pedestrian protection should be provided around the proposed building. Number 7, the location of the pharmacy drive-through lane may make access to the new building difficult. Any stacking of vehicles in the drive-through lane will block any access to the rear parking lot. Number 8, although the property is fairly flat, floor elevations and spot elevations for the parking facility should be provided to confirm accessibility and drainage. Number 9, proposed water and sewer service connection should be shown in detail. Number 10, the design engineer should advise if the proposed building is to be sprinklered. Number 11, limits of disturbance should be shown. Number 12, landscaping and lighting plans should be provided. Number 13, the rear of the existing building appears to have windows, air conditioning equipment, and lighting fixtures. Is the intention to eliminate these items and extend the building interior, or construct a new wall to butt up against the existing wall? Applicant to discuss. Number 14, referral to the Orange County Department of Planning is required under GML 239 due to the property being adjacent to New York State Route 17M. And number 15, the planning board may consider scheduling a public hearing pending satisfaction of the submitted materials.
Right, so a lot of these technical comments we will address as the plans get further developed. Proposed water and sewer service, there is none we plan on tying into existing facilities. We will show limits of disturbance, landscaping, and lighting. The building is to be sprinklered. Just want to put that out there. I know there was another comment from the building inspector regarding height. This is a 2-story building, will not exceed, should be less than 30 feet and not exceed.
What's the answer to 13?
What was that?
13. Is it going to extend the building, or is it a new building?
Oh, no, it's going to extend it. It's an extension of that building. It's not a new building coming up to it. It's going to extend it. Again, the architectural plans have not been fully developed. I do know there will be a hallway behind, but it's going to be extended. One of the main things I wanted to bring up here is actually parking. A few things of note. Number one, you guys, you wrote over here the parking generation rate of 2.79, which is what is on the town website. However, we got the approved 2018 site plan when this last came back, and they used the parking rate of 2.52. So we went based off of that. I actually have that here. More importantly, there are two competing uses here. We've got the retail and we've got the office. The town parking code gives the maximum rate at the peak times that they are being used. However, the peak uses here are non-overlapping. You've got the retail whose peak use is on Saturdays, and you've got the office parking whose peak use is during the week. If the board could give us some direction as to, so the maximum 90, assuming we went with the 2.79, the maximum spaces here of 100, the required spaces of 100 is high, considering that these are non-overlapping uses. If we could get some guidance from the planning board as to address that, that would be greatly appreciated. And from that, all the other design considerations. Once we know I know you mentioned a few spaces that we do need to eliminate and reconfigure. We do plan on doing some of that. The main thing we really need from you guys is some guidance on the parking, on the parking requirements.
Are you eliminating parking with this building? Some of the parking?
Yes, because it takes up an existing area. But again, drive by the site, and if you just run the calculations, there was way more parking than was ever needed originally. And again, we plan on making it work. We just need some guidance. Like I said, you have two non-overlapping peak uses. you know, some sort of middle ground would be very helpful for us.
So this is the Monroe Pharmacy, Studio 17,
Sub 17, yeah.
head
Sub
deli, the head
17.
shop, the deli, okay.
Yeah.
The limo, do limos park out front? Is limos?
They're up front by 17, They park out there.
Are they still there?
I think the limos are still there.
Yeah, they park there and
Go
by
by it
the
all the time, I
bank.
never see it now.
They're both.
So, Dave, if you want to address the parking calculation.
So, I mean, I'd have to go back to that table and look, but I thought both of those numbers were taken for weekday. But I have to look to see. But I guess, I believe I had used the numbers that were shown on the current table. I wasn't looking at the code as it was, you had referenced, what, 2018?
Yeah, actually, I have the plan over here, this was approved.
So it's ultimately, I believe, up to the planning board, because the way the code's written, it provides the chart, it does provide the numbers that I had on the table, but I think it's gonna be based upon your experience, what, you know, if the parking there seems to be
It does-
adequate or not based on the current use. I think
Right.
that would be relevant.
It does say specifically that when there's two non-overlapping uses,
Mm-hmm.
there is a provision there that gives authority, I guess, or whatever we're doing, I guess, to the planning board
Yeah.
for this. So a lot of that is what's guiding this, you know, how we could,
Yeah, I think we need to take a look at that.
What's the use for this?
there's retail and office. The proposed is just office, however, you do have retail. When you take the site as a whole, when it's all said and done, you've got retail and office, where office, the primary uses are in the week, and retail, the primary
But your
use.
extension is just office?
Just office.
Yeah. I don't see why it's peak and off-peak, like the
Yeah,
retail,
retail's week.
it's like every day of the week. So I don't see how you're getting,
And that's what the code said. It says the specific retail, the specific peak day. And I can double check that, but that's, the code said.
I wonder who wrote that code?
Well, it also says you can use current ITE, which I did look at. The numbers were generally similar to the ones that were provided in the
Well,
analysis. Right.
Right.
But I don't think we want to give an answer until we take a look at this, right?
Right.
Well,
I don't know.
What I would suggest is have the applicants make a written submission addressing the comment with the authority and the rationale, so that we have that
Right.
to review. Because right now, we're just kind of shooting in the dark.
Right,
So
yeah, we couldn't do
what I
that
would
right
say
now.
is make a submission with your rationale, your basis, why you think that the existing uses, et cetera, so that the board has something to evaluate.
When you say the rationale, meaning like a parking study or?
Kind of what you just shared,
What you
like
just
what,
shared, put it in.
the rationale, put that in writing to the board.
Did you guys receive a narrative? Because I'm pretty sure we did put that in the narrative. And-
Well, I know you had mentioned that they weren't overlapping, but I think what the board's asking is that you provide more information to,
Right,
you know, back
Just
up the fact
expand
that
on
they're.
that.
that they're
Expand on that,
overlapping.
right.
right. Okay.
And I was gonna say that I think the other large issue here is the circulation around the building, limited
Right.
access aisle widths,
Fire department, actually.
right, emergency services.
And we will address that. That will be taken care of. I think what we want to know first is what we could work with in terms of the required parking. Sort of come up with something and, you know, we will do our, you know, fire truck turn analysis. Just another question I had for the board is, or the engineer or building inspector is, which fire truck do we have to, is there a specific model?
I don't know offhand, but we can probably coordinate that with the fire.
Yeah, and I think we send it to them for referral,
Yeah.
so they can review.
Right.
You know.
And we'll go through all that, but I think this is really the main
Right.
factor that's guiding everything right now. We want to get that down first, so we know what we can work with here.
Yeah, so we need like a narrative from you expanding on tonight, just because the code is what the code is. I'm not sure I agree with the rationale part, just on the face of it, about retail and offices, you know, but, you know, so I think, yeah, and then we'd have to take a look at it.
So I think, I just checked, the table does reference Saturday for retail,
Right.
but I think you can look at the numbers for ITE for weekday. Because I think what you should do is, I think, look at both, I would say
Right.
probably days for the overlap of the office and the retail, and referred to ITE for the weekday generation for the retail.
Your generation table right now actually is including those spaces that you have, and you add it, but it looks like to get those driving lanes, you're gonna be eliminating more space.
Right, so the question is, you want to.
You're gonna be even less than
Right,
what he's proposing right now.
Right.
right.
Where that, again, for the code, I have to put down the code, on the plan, I have to put down what the code says.
Mhm.
Happy to back that up. Perhaps we might look into it and see if we got you guys a parking study or something like that as well, or a narrative. At the very least, a narrative, but we will factor in those rates.
Mhm. Okay.
And I have not
Yes.
circulated my memo yet because I checked it this morning. Couple of things, the application appeared very difficult to read. It should be more legible, and also we should correct the SBL, it's flipped a lot, and the applicant to be listed as the record owner LLC, it's in the individual name. Seeker, this is an unlisted action, short environmental assessment form 12A, applicant to address the yes answer. SEAF number 13, applicant to address location of wetlands or water bodies, there was a yes answer on that as well.
Oh, that came up as.
I think, I suspect that when you fill out the form using the DEC
Right.
EAF mapper, it indicates wetlands present on or near the website, I think.
Yeah,
Near
it was the
site.
adjoining one, so I just need a yes,
Right.
I need a yes, this is either off-site, it's over here,
Mhm.
so we need that addressed. The other comment, and I'm not gonna repeat what Dave's already said, the planning board should consider and address traffic. Just be aware that this project is directly across the street from another project that's pending before us. So whatever the traffic increase, the SEIF says there will not be an increase. In traffic, I don't know, so I defer that to you for review.
Okay.
One other thing I just wanted to bring up, screening of parking. I know you wrote that comment. It's all existing. I mean, what's there is there already. The parking lots are all existing. We're not pushing out. We're not going any further. That entire area is paved over. Everything around it is paved over, as well as the dumpster. You also mentioned that the dumpster can't be within the 5 feet of the property line. The current one is within 5 feet of the property line. So just, putting that out there that we're not, exceeding anything that's existing.
Mhm. Okay.
But as soon as you move the dumpster,
You're relocating the dumpster. so
yeah,
that's-
as soon as you move the dumpster, I could have treated it as a non-conformity, but you're moving it.
I understand, but again, if it's there already, we're not really making the conditions.
You're-
I get it, we're
you're
moving it,
moving
it's a
it.
new one.
You're moving it to across the lot.
Again, the existing condition is,
Right, but when you change the use like that, too,
You're
it
not
changed,
moving at this point. It's-
right.
You are relocating, so now you're not really complying.
So I think at this point, the applicant has some homework to do.
Yep.
We're not going to take any further action tonight, we'll wait their next submission, and then we can go from there.
Yep, I agree.
So all we would need to do is just resubmit a narrative, we can keep the plan for now.
Well, you need to address
I'll address.
all of, right, Lankin Tully's
There's
comments.
Kelly's comments, there's Jim Cox's comments.
Yes.
And I'll email you a copy of my memo,
Right.
Okay, perfect.
okay?
And then the narrative, expand on that, on why you want the board to, to change that.
Right. Okay.
All right.
As far as lead agency or, secret declarations that happen now, or?
No, after you get when you answer these things and it gets together, then we'll take that as the next step.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Good? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, we're looking at 59 Gilbert. This was, no one here for that?
Mike Meals, oh,
No show? Okay. All right. Let's move on. and 30 Carpenter. Now you can say, David, what you were going to say.
We agree with Lincoln Tully's comments, so we'd like to address that, but we just received comments from the building department, so I thought we'd take a moment to go over those. Especially the walkways on both sides of the building.
Well, there's no entrance to the door that was proposed for that addition in the back, so it looks like it's just walking across the grass or whatever there. So you gotta have some kind of walkway, entrance way, sidewalk.
A sidewalk.
Yeah.
And then on the other side,
The other side is the egress and ingress from the
outdoor terrace.
seating area, right. Right now, it's just dumps into the back where cars are parked. There's landscaping in the way where people are gonna walk, so I think that side of the building, that has to be accessible, it has to be ADA accessible, like the egress. So if there is any issues, that's the way out, so. you have to be-
not onto the parking lot.
You can go into the parking lot, but you're gonna lose the space. I think if it comes out, goes alongside of the building, then it can go into the parking lot. There's
Yeah.
already height for
Oh,
parking.
no, I don't want to decrease, I don't want to
You're gonna
remove.
lose the spot.
No, we don't want to.
You can't lose any spots there.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, he's talking about plan right of the building and
Can I
then
zoom
on
anymore?
plan left.
Yeah, because the plan doesn't show the door on the proposed storage, but
Right.
on one of the other sets of plans, there is a door there.
And where are you saying the sidewalk goes, Jim, or it would be needed?
Well, he doesn't have a sidewalk.
Right.
On the left, where it says previously approved, up in the top.
Okay.
Storage, there's a door coming out on the side there, but there's no walkway.
Gotcha.
to get to.
Yeah, yep.
So he has to put that in. And then the other is coming out of the outdoor seating area. And
Right.
come out into the parking lot.
Right.
ADA accessible as well, so.
Okay.
Actually, the lighting, you gotta show the existing lighting, and then you should go over the outdoor
Yeah, we're,
outdoor use, and, you know, the board actually should discuss this on your hours of operation, is there gonna be music, bands, whatever, so they should know, and that should be put on the plans.
so it's my understanding there'll be no outdoor music or live performances. We can go out there and locate the existing lighting. There's no intent to put out pole lighting or any type of tall lighting in the outdoor seating area, especially since it's seasonal.
How's it going to be lit, David?
Well, so if you want it to be lit, or we're gonna, I'll talk to the owner about the hours of operation. My recommendation would be building mounted lights
Yeah,
along.
it just need to be shown.
Yeah, and we can get building mounted lights with a photometric that'll reach the outside area of the terrace but not encroach beyond, to interfere with any neighbors or to disturb any of the neighbors.
Are they thinking string lights at all, that you've heard that mentioned at all? 'Cause I could see that, actually, that would probably
I mean,
look good. Right? Yeah.
you know what the problem would be?
It's not permanent.
And how do we photometric it?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I know, because if I provide or show string lights, which eventually may happen, I mean, but they're so low in voltage,
Yeah.
they don't really spill out light, that I'd rather just say, you know what, the board, if we do outdoor seating at night or into the evening, let's just propose building mounted lights that with a photometric, as I mentioned, that comes down, so that would be our solution to that. And with the walkways, and now that I further understand what the building department was proposing, yeah, we'll introduce that in the next set. So, the submission date for the next planning board,
29th, I think?
29th of April.
so our intent then is to submit by the 29th, incorporating the November letter comments and the building department's comments as a final set.
Okay. Okay. The board has any questions, or?
And just be aware, if you do submit by the 29th, we may
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's good, yep.
Yeah.
All right, don't move.
Don't-
I think the next one is 37 Still.
Yes. So this is a new application before you. So I think there's a little bit of a misunderstanding on this submission. The addition and renovation of the existing house has already been approved by the building department.
That's correct. They're only here for the detached garage and the pool.
The pool.
installation.
And we,
It's only here for the earth moving activities
Right.
in excess of $1,000.
correct. So thank you. So we outlined that in our cover letter. Also on the plan, we do show on the notes that the addition and the renovation were approved. The scope of the work, as Jim mentioned, is the pool and the garage in the back. And, as we got the determination letter from the building department, it says anything in excess of 1,000 pounds or any machinery that's in excess of 1,000 pounds required to do the work needs planning board approval. So we're here for your.
Yep. All right, so I'm going to turn to David. David, is there some inconsistency in the plan there?
In terms of what's being.
Like maybe the floor ratio area?
Let me,
No, they passed that.
That's solid?
Before the zoning board, that was actually denied. You're talking about the decision.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That decision has nothing to do with this application. That's in your listing here.
My concern, and I don't want to step on Dave's toes, just the floor restoration report. Give the plan up.
Can you?
Can you just go into the floor area calculation for me? And make Jim, there's probably a rational.
Should be over there.
The floor in the back?
So your floor area ratio goes slightly higher, here it is. It says 0.18, and then it says a higher one is provided, and then it says based on building department, so I just don't know what that means.
Those numbers are completely wrong, and I'm sure he's gonna.
Okay,
We've been, right. We've been before the the zoning board for the FAR law for quite a while. The numbers have been changing a lot, and they finally got a number that actually came down and meets the FAR law because they did alterations to the house.
and that's
So,
fine,
but he needs to
I
clean- he needs
see
to clean
far, and
those
then I see a
numbers up.
higher number, and I
That's
go,
this thing we grabbed.
we need a variance, and I know we got denied, so,
He needs to clean those numbers up because they're actually irrelevant to
Okay.
us here tonight. So,
thank you. I feel better.
I think it's a cut and paste.
It is.
Okay.
Fine. All right, Dave, now it's all yours, I'm sorry.
it might just be better to go through the comments that I had. So number one, the plan and application indicates that Lankentelli is the project surveyor. While Lankentelli did provide a property survey for the prior owner in 2020, the survey was not prepared in connection with this application. Accordingly, the signature block for the survey should be removed from the site plan, and the site plan should instead reference the previously prepared survey. It is also noted that the submitted site plan has omitted certain items that were shown on the prior survey map, including an existing in-ground swimming pool and pool house in the rear yard, utility poles, and a catch basin, sewer, manhole, and water valve in the vicinity of Still Road. Okay. Number two, the submitted site plan indicates that an addition is proposed to the rear of the existing single-family dwelling. However, neither the cover letter or EAF form mentions the house addition. Plans and documents should be revised for consistency.
We'll cede all these comments just for time. I cede all these comments, again, because they're not applicable to this application. We're not asking for review of the addition or renovation. That's what all these comments have to do with. We're asking for approval of the pool and the back garage.
The back garage is the accessory, isn't it?
In this application, yes.
So the garage is proposed, correct?
Yes.
And we're reviewing the site plan for the garage
And the pool.
and the
And the
pool,
pool.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure which ones don't apply then, I guess.
Well, number two, you talk about the addition and the EAF, plans and documents, that's all been approved already. 4, 5 has been approved. Well, 6-week, 7-week address. If the planning board wants architectural renderings, we could show what we did for the house already, you know, that we went through a ZBA application on that. And, okay, 9, we're asking for site plan approval for the pool and the accessory structure.
Let me ask you, David, because I'm a bit confused now. Did the addition to the house have something on the back of the existing house that was required approval for the ZBA or something? Or?
The addition to the back of the house went through the ZBA approval.
That's different, that's distinct from this accessory.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with this application.
Okay, I don't mean to kind of pin it down, but.
I think what David needs to do is actually redo the plan to show that that's not proposed.
Can you show the,
That
can you
should
show
all
the plan?
not be part of the plan.
Correct.
But-
He's
but-
confusing
but
everything.
that one is,
because
yeah,
there's different things going on.
That's part of the plan, and that's part of the plan, but we don't know that on its face.
right, it's,
Yeah, with the garage.
It's not a problem. We can further clarify it, but everything that has to do with the main house is approved. Right now, we're here for the pool and the accessory structure planned north of the pool.
Detached garage you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the light blue up top.
Right, and the one right in front of it.
And so you're
Just so the board understands, that the house actually had a fire.
Right.
It's been
Good.
vacant for almost a year and a half right now. They've been wanting to rebuild. When they wanted to rebuild, they were going up and adding on to it. They were exceeding the firewall. They were going to the zoning board for a variance. They get denied the variance. They had to go back to the drawing board and reduce the house, actually make a carport drive-through. All of that is part of that application.
Right, okay.
So the ZBA's done, they got denied, they redesigned, lowered and brought everything into compliance.
Yeah, what's confusing here is proposed addition, and it's like,
Yeah.
So then after that, because the pool was in the way
Right.
of the addition, because it was too close, they chose to take the existing in-ground pool out.
okay,
Now they're putting the pool
back
back,
in,
relocating it and putting it in the garage.
Rotating.
right, okay.
Yeah, you know,
The house is irrelevant at this point.
Right, so and you see, David, there, it's proposed and proposed up top, so that's what we're looking at, and so.
My apologies. We tried to be clear on the cover letter. The cover letter is specific. You know, it's on the application. So
We just thought you forgot, because it says proposed on here.
and I
As
think,
Jim mentioned, the project has, it's been a long process.
Yep.
So, and the fact that we're again before another municipal board for the pool and the garage is another extension of an exhaustive process. But it has nothing to do with this board, you know, at all. It's just the whole project. in
Right.
its entirety, so.
Just for my knowledge, the house that you're showing there is what it's going to be. It's not right now.
Yeah.
Okay, it's what's planned to, okay.
This is directly across from Sacred Heart.
Yeah.
All those cars are?
Yeah.
This is directly across from Sacred Heart Church.
Correct.
Where all the cars are parked up front, that house?
In
Oh,
the,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's blowing out like.
in the backside, it's all
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, this is the Cadillac house?
windows in the
Yes.
house, the Cadillac house, yeah.
So is the garage, like,
Is the garage
Is it
gonna hold
business?
those cars that they have all over the front?
No. It's not big enough to house all those cars.
No.
A lot of those cars gotta go. We had to minimize the size of the garage, well.
They're gonna make them planters.
You know, carport, already, so,
Yes, every day.
I know. Okay.
And they're gonna put a regular driveway?
All right, so Elizabeth, anything,
Now it's all gravel?
from you?
Hold on one second, I'm reading. Change this shape, building structure or application. Based on the applicability section. That's gonna be my
So-
statement. We can ask future interpretations of code.
yes, this, does that have to get?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
this is like a
standard.
I think this is a.
So I guess, because the question that I had was, as this section of the code is new, it's, referring
Because I think that's.
Yeah.
these
Shall not be-
generally minor applications to the planning board for review.
No architect.
The way I read it was basically saying the planning board has to review the application in accordance with the site plan requirements, and I believe that architectural review is a subset of that. I didn't know whether or not the planning board was going to include architectural review as part of it.
I don't see it, I don't see it being triggered.
Okay.
So, any comments from the board? Further comments?
Well,
Right.
I think we just needed we need another submission from Mr. Marco, right?
Yeah, we're gonna clean that up a little bit.
And I think just going over Dave's comments, the whole reason the village board and, I have a board member here, so I don't wanna, speak out of school, is that the focus on comment number 7, which is the whole reason that, these types of applications are now before us, for the rationale, so I would focus on your comments and addressing that one.
We agreed, not a problem. We'll lay those details to the plan.
Okay, so, do that, send it back in.
Can we, is this requiring a public hearing?
No.
Oh, great, okay. All right, so we'll revise, we'll submit, our goal then would be also to submit on the 29th and be at town hall, I guess, That's
Right.
fine.
Okay, great, okay. Don't go anywhere. Right? Oh, no, Ramapo. Ramapo.
Oh, I have a great pair of comment letter glasses. I don't see any comments. What a letter this is. Oh, I love this letter. That was some sight today, huh?
Yeah, it was.
Cloudy, yeah.
But you still see it with the glasses?
Yeah, a little bit. You can see it?
Yeah,
you can see it.
yeah.
So actually, so it's better.
So, Ramapo Street development, first of all, I forgot to thank, everyone, and also for getting the comment letters to us before the meeting. So thank you very much for doing that. Appreciate it. Just give it a little time to get ready or prep for the meeting. We did receive Lincoln Tully's comments, Dave Higgins regarding the project. We basically are good with the comments. We can, further detail them. Let's go through them. At what point, my questions would be, at what point do we start the floodplain development permit process? And at what point do we start the Article 19 of the Village Code for the Historic Preservation Commission?
Well, I think we've got another hurdle before we do that, because on the 18th, the village board adopted the constrained lands local law.
That may change things.
So I think we need to see, before we jump into sending this out for the permitting, we need to see compliance with that. We need to see the plans comply with that law. So if you need a copy, I'm happy to email it to you. But there are deductions that now exist that did not exist. So we'll need to see that the project isn't affected by those deductions.
Yeah, no, I read the comment. It says, and that such exclusion would render the parcel undevelopable. So we're developing only less than an acre of the lot. And also, that less than acre area was under custodialship of Army Corps of Engineers. And they've approved this project 3 or 4 years ago, prior to the law, that's going to be adopted.
The Army Corps situation and this local law are two independent streams of authority.
That was just a relocation for a project in Harriman, so that's really all.
But the soils here are being
But
filled.
one has nothing to, the Army Corps can stay all at once, but if it doesn't meet the zoning code, and likewise, it can meet the zoning code and the Army Corps say no. So they're two different independent, they're two discrete authorities.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, a local zoning board, a local municipality could not override the Army Corps or DEC on their wetlands.
If it, is in violation of the zoning code, I believe they can. If you want to present me the legal authority, I'm happy to take a look at it.
It hasn't been my experience, and I defer to, actually, to be honest, it proved to us that would be the case, because I cannot think of any project where the municipality was allowed to override the DEC or the Army Corps.
The village board has adopted a new code that requires constrained lands to be deducted out. I don't know how that affects the project. Those constrained lands, that analysis will have to be performed. So, I don't know how it affects the project. It may not affect the project at all, but we need to see that calculation shown on the plans, because now we don't have the authority. The village board doesn't allow us to adopt or approve the application unless we can show conformity with that section.
Right. Put those glasses back on.
Glasses was a lot better. Oh, man, you only, everybody was great. I can pass these out with you on no cost. When you're looking at comment number 10.
It has been on my comment memo since we've been discussing it. It's been on my comment memos that this was a possibility.
Okay, so in the local law, there's parameters that need to be met?
So I can pull it up for you.
Or we can, is it on the website?
I believe
It
is.
should be by
I'll
now.
let Dave give you.
Under local law, it's not actually codified.
Constrained local law. It's
If you can't find it, let me know, I'll send it to you.
Oh, okay.
New local laws.
Under new local laws?
It's, I believe it's 3.
All right, well, so the other comments we'll address, obviously, item 10 will be foremost, so we'll get that started and then work on it. So it's new local laws on the website?
Right. What's that, the new constrained lands, I think it is? Yeah.
Check local law number 3. That's what we think it is. And they're on the website.
It's
3 or 4, I don't
It's
remember.
It's 4?
Yes, so, the following land shall not be counted as part of any lot area, gross lot area, or minimum lot area for purposes of this chapter, including but not limited to calculation of lot area, lot coverage, or floor area ratio. A, 100% of wetlands, including New York State designated wetlands, not including the 100-foot regulated buffer. Wetlands regulated by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, as those wetlands now exist or may be found to exist. 100% of lands underwater and lands covered by natural or constructed water bodies, including without limitation existing retention and detention basins. 50% of lands with steep slopes equal to or greater than 25%. 50% of areas subject to the 1% annual flood and 100-year flood as defined by and illustrated on the Federal Emergency Management Agency flood hazard boundary maps. As those maps now exist or as they may be amended from time to time. 50% of the lands encumbered by easements or other restrictions, including utility easements preventing use of such land for construction of buildings, uses, and/or development. And then also, and then just be aware as well, no development shall be situated on lands with steep slopes in excess of 35%. And then that's not an issue here. The plan, during site plan subdivision or special use permit application review, the planning board shall require that development areas be located so as to avoid these constrained lands from disturbance. To the maximum extent, development shall not be sited on, nor shall development disturb areas constrained to set forth above, unless waived by the planning board to the unique nature of the parcel, and then such exclusion will render the parcel undevelopable. The planning board, as a condition of approval, may require the condition of applicants to ensure these requirements and any conditions limiting the development are met. So that's a portion of those are the highlights of the new law.
And David, you saw I don't know if you had a chance to read it, because it's pretty lengthy, but Ted's, green plan, Ted Finks.
Yeah, I mean, there were, yes, I mean, not in depth.
No, but you received it,
And also, we received the traffic study for Kennedy Horn.
right.
They agreed with a lot of the design values that Creighton Manning developed. So we forwarded it already up to Creighton Manning to, for their review and comment.
Okay, great. Okay. Other comments that the board has? No, not at this time? So, all right.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks, David. You too. I think we have 3 months of minutes, or maybe 4, that have been collected, typed out, prepared. So it sounds like somebody's been, sounds like somebody's been really busy. And so we need to approve those minutes. I'm going to make the assumption that everybody read them. What we need to know, though, is who was in attendance at each one of them and who wasn't, because,
I was not there for 123-24.
wow, you must be a lawyer.
So I'm not voting on that one. And there's a couple typos here, and I know, I don't know what we want to do about these, but
You could fix them, you could,
like Abrahamic came out as 8 Granic.
came out as what? 8 grand?
8 Granic religions. Islam was one of the 8 Granic religions.
Like,
not an
it was
Abrahamic
probably
religion.
self-corrected, so
8
Abrahamic
Granic
came out as 8 grand.
Which one?
Which set of minutes was that?
That was in 12/11/23
I saw
draft.
that too.
12/11/23.
I think that was really rough. That was the one.
Yeah, it looks like it was pretty rough. I mean,
Yeah, that was not me.
so I don't know, should we go through and fix these first? Or?
We can do that
We're still live. Do we need it on still?
until we close. We're still live, so, and we have to do that if you wanted, I mean, we could,
What's the question?
there's just a number of typos that aren't from Terry, they're from stuff that's been there. And some of them are significant.
Given how, right, if you're not comfortable, I would table that specific, if it applies to every set, we can, look, we're 6 months behind as it is, what's one more month? And then provide a red line to Terry, so.
You guys want to take a little more time to look at the minutes?
Yeah,
Like,
let's do that.
one or two quick typos, but it sounds like it's more pervasive than that.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
We're,
I'll circle
So we'll
them
do
up.
that, and we'll try to correct that. How's that?
so
So.
then just a motion, and I don't know if it's all of them, a motion.
We'll just do it as a block. I'm not sure everybody had a chance. I mean, that Terry got it all together was incredible. I didn't even expect all those sets of minutes,
If
so.
you want, set the, what is it, 13th, which is a work session.
We could do it
Set that
there.
as a special
We'll do a
meeting,
special meeting for that.
And then you can just have discussions.
On that.
Clear those out,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, that's what we'll
And
do.
then that way you're not taking that up at a regular meeting.
Yeah, so publish that one as a special meeting, and this way and that's the only stuff we'll take up on it. Yes, May 13th.
And put it at the end, and then we can all go through.
Yep.
I would suggest, please, if you have comments or changes, get those to Terry.
Yeah,
well
so
in
we
advance
can
that
correct
you
them
have
ahead of
enough
time. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Better plan. We get out of here tonight.
Yes.
It's
You can go get your ice cream.
been a long day.
When's the next?
13th of May. For the, we
So-
just said.
No, like April. When's April?
23rd? Oh,
We're
April.
not having an April meeting.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right, so
that's
May
what I thought.
13th is the
Yeah,
next
okay.
May 13th is our next meeting.
13th is the workshop, yeah. okay.
We were talking about April 29th as a submission date.
Oh, that's why I'm
confused you.
like, yeah, I'm like, wait, I don't have anything in my calendar.
So, all right, so with that, why don't we, we'll somebody just make the motion
I'll
to
make a
table
motion to
these
table
for,
minutes and review them at the workshop on May 13th.
okay, so Member Kelly and.
I'll
did you s-
second.
And Member Allen seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, you have your reading material to do. And again, earlier is better to get it to Terry so she has time to make the
Yeah.
corrections
Make them.
too. Okay, so we need a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Kelly and Member Allen. Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Yeah.